आप एक्सपेरिमेंट कर लो, that's a backup plan.
आपके सीए डिग्री के हिसाब से आपको जॉब जरूर मिल जाएगी.
We were conscious in terms of that, the friend के साथ idea bounce out कर दिया, and we both were smart people. I take credit for that today for both of us.
A lot of students come like this. अच्छा सर 2 महीने में ट्राई करके दे देते ना.
क्या जाएगा?
But what happens is because then you get stuck with this.
Why should someone become a regional council member? What is the duties of WIRC?
But you're just a representative of people, right? A chartered accountant to the institute.
Are you sure no members make any money by any mechanism by being a council member?
So if you meet somebody at the institute, so you're not making money. It's just, you're meeting somebody. And then
So again, coming back to the fact that you said, हर 3 साल में हम 21 members चुनते हैं. They get elected, they become part of the council. But every 3 years the council changes.
Correct.
And every year the executive committee changes of the council also.
Correct.
Do you think somewhere because of lack of continuity also a lot of decisions or implementation gets delayed? Because as a leader, maybe I think of something today.
True.
The next leader does not believe in that.
True.
That person gets elected.
True.
He will put that in the back burner. कुछ नया शुरू करेगा, तीसरे से कुछ नया शुरू करेगा.
True.
Do you think the system is somewhere, while it's democratic, it's open-ended for everyone to be a part of it, it still is a roadblock in terms of getting decisions made and making changes happen in a faster pace?
It is. So there's always both sides, right? If we look at, let's say a particular committee feel for a longer period of time, which they would not want, and that is why they're re-election, right?
Yeah.
So it's both-sided, there are benefits and possibly disadvantages on the other side. But the staff of ICAI is somebody who remains constant. If you look at all the committees in the main council, are the secretary to almost every committee are chartered accountants or who are working with the institute for last 10-15 years as well. So they are the one who actually does the thing. So a council member will come and maybe guide or bring up new ideas depending on which committee he or she is working in. But it's the entire staff who's going to execute that.
So again, they're executioners, right? So, आप जो idea दोगे, उनका काम implement करना है. They won't counter question you in terms of sir पहले
No,
ये
not
कर
necessary, not necessary. They can always counter question and they do as well. ऐसा नहीं है, absolutely.
Okay.
So they're part of that.
Alright, perfect. So any learning experience 21 elections when you won that? What was your learning? I know there's elections, so politics is going to be a part of it. Have you faced any kind of questions or any situations which you were not comfortable with?
When 2021
or 18?
No, not very typically, because I've always believed that, see, there will be a lot of things when you're standing for any election, right? I think for my mom, we used to since school time, standing in elections. So there will always be a lot of things. While you cannot know everything, it's same, when you go for an interview, you cannot answer every, question. So I think election also is going to be there. But I think an amazing learning experience during election is that you get to know a lot of people, what people are thinking, and people, not everybody talks about it, but a lot of people do talk about, the changes that you look. I think that is something which is the best part about any election, because you get to meet a lot of people at that point in time.
So you enter the council with a certain mindset कि ये मेरे को कुछ change करना है.
Correct.
Have you been able to achieve that in the last 3 years?
To a certain extent, yes. So as I said, it's a body, right? So you individually may think, Acha, I would want to change this, I want to change that. But is that possible at that level? Can only come out after a brainstorming with a lot of people. Let's say an example, I have come from Mumbai and I've seen only a particular set of crowd, right? There must be somebody who comes from Delhi, who comes from another part of, maybe Maharashtra, Gujarat, at least in WRC, across India. So you've not seen the entire country. So everywhere it's going to be different. So everybody brings their experience to the table, discusses, and the best things comes out. So sometimes the best may not come out, the maybe second best comes out, but that I think that's going to be everywhere across the table the moment there are going to be people. So what I've always believed in, while we bring 100 things, maybe 10 may get executed possibly, but if you never brought 100, the 10 will never. If you think कि अच्छा मैं 10 ही होने वाला है तो मैं क्यों ले जाऊँ 100, तो 10 भी नहीं होंगे. So we cannot stop.
So are you saying कि 21 लोगों का जो group होता है, which comes together as a council, they all come from different backgrounds, different mindset, different objectives.
Absolutely.
Because they all have 100 ideas of theirs also.
Correct.
Do you think that consensus building exercise is also difficult somewhere?
Absolutely, no, anywhere. So if I have to look at, let's say an example, I've been a part of bank audits, right? Statutory bank audits जब मैं करता था, statutory central audits हम कर रहे, so there were 6 or 4 bank auditors who comes from a different city or city across India as well. So bringing consensus is always going to be difficult. So this happens. So we fight, we discuss. Different people may have different opinions, and then there is going to be a consensus or non-consensus. Going to be a part of that. If something is non-consensus, it will go to the next meeting again.
So has there been a situation of decision paralysis, that decision was not being able to complete, or is that the chairman has a final say on things like these?
Oh, ऐसा नहीं है. So anywhere, it could be a chairman or a president in ICAI as well. We'll have a final say. Because then there has to be decision to be complete.
Yeah.
But there is always going to be there that decision may not be taken then, and we'll in the next meeting we'll maybe think over it. Absolutely, yes.
So now coming to a very interesting part कि हम members है जो चुनते हैं council members को.
Correct है.
Council member फिर अपनी executive committee चुनती है.
True.
How does that process happen?
So again, it's going to be, so typically the way the general elections happens, that let's say we elect the MLAs and the MLAs selects the chief minister. We elect the MPs selects the prime minister, is the same way. So in WRC, you select the 21 regional council members, and 21 internally every year selects who's the chairman, who's the vice chairman, who's the secretary, who's the treasurer. We call it office bearers basically.
Correct.
So every position in institute is yearly.
So वो हर साल election होता है या at the start of the 3-year term 3 साल का हो
every
जाता है?
साल, every year.
Because we see a lot of officers getting repeated, and some council members are never an office bearer.
No, so it's every year. No, so every year everybody stands for an election. So depends who gets votes. So who is allowed to vote? The internal member.
With all these are happening, why should someone become a regional council member? What is the duties of WRC?
So as I rightly said, what is WRC or regional council member? You're just a representative of people, right? A chartered accountant to the institute. So you're trying to help whatever anything new is going to come. You're trying to help to reach to the members, right? Okay. Any members who are going to face issues, you're trying to take it to the institute. I think you're just the bridging gap in between, that you can, not just members but students as well. So for me, it was always there has to be somebody from a students fraternity, because students are not part of the council, of course. Yeah. So somebody to represent them, somebody to represent young chartered accountants, I think, is something that got me here.
So the regional council is more like a communication channel between the main body of the institute and the members in general, if I have to put that in a simple
absolutely. So I think every council, it could be a branch or a central council as well, for that matter. Of course, policy decisions happens at central council as compared to the region or a branch as well.
So what are the limitations of being a regional council member?
Not really.
Not really. So I'll stretch this question a little more for you. Once you're a regional council member, you're spending a lot of time in institute and activities, branch visits, events.
Correct.
You have your professional life and personal life as well. Does that go for a toss?
It does, no? Because see, we all have got 24 hours, right?
Yeah.
So kahin na kahin, then you have to juggle between it's again, but as I said, right, right from a CA course, when we were doing, I like something when we were doing multiple things. So this is something which comes out of liking. So it's always a tough time, and that is why a lot of people don't contest as well, right?
True.
That because you have to give an additional time over there while you have to still work. And that is why a lot of people, maybe you were in job, may not get into the council because that time devotion and again institute, it's more of voluntary, right?
Correct.
So आप जितना समय दोगे उतनी चीजें करोगे, आप जितना कम समय दोगे उतनी कम चीजें होएगी. So it's always, so there's always a juggle, but enjoying. So
we talk it's voluntary. Are you sure no members make any money by any mechanism by being a council member?
Nobody makes it directly, no? So direct, that's what I'm saying. So अगर आप अभी जैसे मैं आपको मिला हूँ यहाँ पे, ठीक है? So अगर हमारा रिश्ता अच्छे से बनता है, so then अगर मैं इसके through मिला, so would you take it that I made money? Not really.
Not
right?
really.
Exactly. That's what.
It's basically public relations and brand building.
Exactly. So it all depends. So that it's all depends on you as your PR, right? So if you meet somebody at the institute, so you're not making money. It's just you're meeting somebody, and then maybe you're getting connected. That's absolutely, that's exactly the power of branding and networking, I would say. So are you ready to do network? Today, an example, a lot of people are active on social media.
Correct.
I have made a lot of friends just because I'm active on social media, and to which then I'm communicated, and developed business as well. But
Okay.
somebody who's not active on social media lost that opportunity, right?
Yeah.
So same exactly. So somebody who's active in institute who's even not council member, let's say somebody who's coming in maybe in events or anything, who's going to become a good network, right? So then you're trying to meet people. So I think that is something going to be there.
So ये तो 40-50 members at the regional council level जो election लड़ते हैं, they contest to become a part of the RCM. What is their objective eventually in general?
So I think anybody typically, I think coming from a little management study perspective as well, somebody जिसको वो I would say leader बनने का शौक होता है, who likes to be in limelight, who likes to be on stage, is somebody apart from that you would want to serve back and give back to your ICI and as a society, that is always going to be there. But there's always an inner that thing that you like being on stage. So for me, as I said, right since school time, I think I've been a monitor, being on stage, host. So there was always something along where I wanted to help students and everything. I've always liked that stage. So I think definitely for a lot of people like that.
So as काफी लोग सुनने में आता है कि get a lot of clients because you're the consul. You're able to connect with a lot of corporates and that's the client comes back to you. Is that true?
Not necessarily. If you're bad at PR, that client will never give you work. So that's what I say. No, so let's say as a council member, if you do not know how to talk to people, let's say an example, and you meet somebody, but if he talks and gives work to you as well, you're not able to deliver. That's not going to happen. No? So it doesn't work like that.
Now, do you think WRC council members are able to influence decisions at the larger level?
In the sense?
So I'll give you an example. For example, recently we had this incident where a Big Four employee passed away. And, there was a lot of hue and cry around workplace cultures and balances somewhere. And Pune happens to be within WRC. But we had no comments coming on there. So is that a conscious decision of not commenting on individual incidents? Or is it because, or do you think somewhere the council can be a little more stronger in protecting and safeguarding chartered accountants?
No. So first of all, if I have to look at this incident, I'm not sure do we have a right? So a person is employed with a company, right? So on that, at WRC very specifically, we started doing specifically a series of seminars on the work-life balance and all of those topics that we immediately started off. That is in our hand. Can we make rules for a company? It's not in our hand, right? So what is the WRC supposed to? Is there, it's not my purview. What is it that I can do for my members? I can explain to my members or for the students fraternity as well in WRC that what is the type of the life that you should live. What is, the health. So assuming at WRC or every branch as well, we've been conducting yoga sessions, health related seminars, sessions, but a lot of members do not come. Now again, that's a bigger problem because then if I have to look at, let's say if I've kept an audit seminar, there'll more people come in. If I've kept a yoga seminar, there'll less people come in. So it is an individual's call at the end, I've always believed, of how much would you want to do. If today I'm going to be getting tired, I'm going to be taking a break, leaving everything aside, right? Are you ready? So what is happening today, we're all becoming in a very rat race form. And this happens during articleship as well. And that is what I've always guided to students also, that you see what you would want to do and not because your friend is joining, something that you have to do that. So I think that is something.
That comes to a lot of questions in terms of how the council also behaves in situations in protecting members over students.
True.
And this again coming from my experience when I was a student. That is the year when they kind of stopped transfers happening mid-duration. They put a restriction on the hours of articleship ताकि classes ban हो जाए. The fact really is that
classes ban हो जाए.
So classes were not being permitted, that you don't attend classes. That you attend classes is not allowed, right? Because the hours ऐसे fix कर दिया था तुम classes ना जा पाओगे.
नहीं.
This has happened when I was doing my studies as well.
Okay.
So I remember this announcement had come in. Now the question is that as a student, these classes are run by chartered accountants, often run by chartered accountants.
Correct.
But there are no guidance notes for them somewhere that this is how you need to perform. Versus students. Yeah. But students के लिए है कि तुम इतने घंटे तुम्हें काम करना है, तुम्हें सैटरडे भी काम करना पड़ सकता है, तुम्हें सुबह 10 बजे से 7 बजे तक तुम्हारा टाइम फिक्स होना चाहिए यहाँ पे. These all guidance notes come for students.
Correct.
But nothing prerogative comes for members to be able to comply with.
Correct. No, I'll tell you. So now for articles, the articleship timing, if I'm not mistaken, is 35 hours a week, right? इंस्टीट्यूट बोलते हैं आपको 35 hours a week काम करना
फॉलो होता है.
मैं वही तो कह रहा हूँ ना, वो आप पे है. टुडे इफ अ
बट
स्टूडेंट,
आप पे
नो
है
मैं
इज
वही
नॉट
कह रहा
स्टूडेंट, इट्स अ मेंबर
हूँ,
आल्सो,
नो
राइट?
मैं वही बोल रहा हूँ. लेट्स कम टू द फर्स्ट थिंग.
ओके.
A student has an option to join which firm.
करेक्ट.
If I know a particular firm makes me work on Saturday as well, why should I go? That's number one thing.
ओके.
I never went.
ओके.
I never went and joined a big four in my during articleship
ओके.
because I knew I did not want to work for
Work
45
on
hours,
those things.
right?
Correct.
So it's you have to take a call. As you rightly said, can that do? I do not know as of now. Does institute have that power that they can, control these firms as well? I do not know whether that has power or not. I would want to do that. I think I'm more than happy, to put this in place and to put this into the council, that we need to control this, whether this is getting followed or not.
Or not. Exactly.
I'm more than happy to put that across, because I, being a mentor, a lot of students come to me,
True.
right?
True.
So whenever a student has come to me, a student, has to come to, of course, right? You cannot go and check directly.
कि क्या हो रहा है?
क्या हो रहा है? तो जब आ रहा है बच्चा, I have made sure more than 80% of the things, we're trying to sort that out. I have made sure personally as well. But I don't know whether we have a power, institute has a power, but I'm more than happy to put that up in the, maybe council, that this is discussion forward. That needs to be
so
done.
But the point is that a lot of regulations are for students to comply with.
Correct.
That is equally applicable because मैं तो सीखे में काम कर रहा हूँ.
Correct.
अगर वो ready नहीं है,
correct,
तो फिर it becomes difficult for me to manage that.
True.
And students are not used to raising their voices
Correct.
or countering that.
Correct.
Principal है, mentor है,
True.
teacher है.
True. True.
Right? So that somewhere is the communication that has
Absolutely,
to go down. The
absolutely.
students also need to be having a channel out if
Correct.
they need, where the members are held accountable for
Very true,
complying
very
with
true,
the ICAI
very
policies
true,
out
very
there.
true.
So in the last 5 to 7 years, number of people pursuing CA has seen a drastic drop, almost 20 to 30% than what was 5 to 7 years back. What do you think is possibly a reason for this?
Number one, I'm not sure whether that's 20 to 30% or not, because when we look at the data across on the CA,
so it's not the
this
registered
thing,
students, number of students registering for the foundation has dropped.
I'm not sure. So
Yeah.
in case if there is there as well, so we look at, it's more about, as I said, when you're talking about in the start, in terms of mindset. Today, the patience level, or after COVID rather, the patience level of people has gone down drastically. Today, people want quicker results, right? So the moment we look at, अच्छा ये 5 साल का course होने वाला है, and that is, I think, I don't know if that was one of the reason to reduce the articleship from 3.5 years to 3 years to 2 years now.
Yeah.
That also the inter exams and foundation exams are now thrice a year.
Correct.
So then you're trying to finish the CA degree comparatively faster as otherwise, because not everybody clears in first attempt, right?
Absolutely.
So the mindset of people to do quickly things is there today.
Somewhere I think that is one of the reasons. A lot of other courses, if you look at foreign courses, a lot of access to other courses has increased. That's number two. Post COVID, because online चीजें हो गई ना, काफी चीजें जो पहले होती नहीं थी. So I think वो वाली चीजें थोड़ी affect करती. So, and again, because when you look at, we're talking about specialization, right? A lot of people have started doing that मुझे यही particular चीज करनी है. But इसमें क्या हो जाता है, एक दिक्कत ये आ जाती है कि people then start blindly following somebody else. कि वो श्योर नहीं है कि उनको पर्टिकुलर चीज करनी है, बिकॉज वो दोस्त कर रहे हैं इसलिए वो कर लग जाते हैं, बट बाद में प्रॉब्लम होता है.
So while you see international courses of India now, okay, but CA gradually has somewhere started differentiating for the fact also. And do you also believe somewhere, because मैं अगर 3-4 साल डालता हूँ, पास नहीं होता हूँ, मेरे को डिग्री नहीं मिलती है, I don't have any semi qualification जिसके through I have an exit out also. Versus if I do a course like an MBA or something, जहाँ पे 2 साल का course है, 80% आया, 50% आया, मेरे पास डिग्री तो मिलने वाली है, right? And then they have a placement and alumni network that helps. Of course, today MBA is also seeing a downfall in terms of where it is. But do you think CA will see a larger hit in the years to come?
No, not necessarily. मैं बोल रहा हूँ ना, see, I will not even compare from the bit of the earlier years, because the number of students will also accordingly increase, right? वो बच्चे तो कम नहीं होने वाले आगे चल के. Typically क्या हो रहा है कि चीजें अलग चीज है. अभी मैं इसलिए ना 3 years से 2 years of articleship आ गई. Possibly 2 years बाद at institute there might be something else which will come up with the CA course in that manner. So possibly that would help people do again CA. So that's not a problem. And again, if you look at the cost, these I would still never compare a CA and an MBA. Typically, an MBA from a very mid-sized college where a fees is going to be 8 to 10 lakhs, उनकी average salary 6 lakh होती है. Correct. An average salary of the CA course has gone above 6 today, right? A lot of I know mid-sized CA firms are ready to pay 8 to 9 lakhs. But what happens? इसमें भी यही है. अभी लोग बोलते हैं आपको easily job नहीं मिल रहा. It is what are you getting versus what do you want? With choice, right? So typically today I have got a lot of mid-sized CA firms also who are offering CA freshers 8.5 to 9 lakhs. But a CA fresher से अच्छा नहीं मुझे investment banking में जाना है. So I tell him, are you ready to work for long hours there? He's like, नहीं मुझे तो work-life balance भी चाहिए. So what is important is you have to figure out. So when I do the seminars, कहीं पे कुछ ना कुछ compromise करना होगा. Absolutely. You can't get everything. So मैं जब career seminars भी करता हूँ ना, मैं सबसे पहले शुरू ये नहीं करता कि आपको कौन सी फील्ड में करियर बनाना है. मैं शुरू इससे करता हूँ कि आपकी लाइफ कैसे जीनी है. Accordingly, I choose my career, right? So अगर आपको ट्रैवल पसंद नहीं है और आप वैसा वाला कुछ चुन रहे हो करियर में नेवर बी हैप्पी. So I think that is something. So if you have to give a message of one line to students who are in tech, आज एग्जाम देने वाले हैं जो अपना करियर चुनना चाहते हैं. Okay. One line for them to aspire to be chartered accountant. One line to aspire to be chartered accountant. I think talk and meet a lot of mentors. I think getting correct mentoring is very important. So I think for them, I would say discuss with the mentor, see what are your inner qualities, and then accordingly to the course. All right. So thank you so much, Hrudyesh, for joining us on this episode of the other degree. Before we wrap up, we have a few rapid fire questions for you. I think that will be. Yeah. So you have less than 5 seconds to respond to every question. Okay. So on the time on that. All right. Will you appear for your CA exams again? Yes. Yes. I wouldn't want to do that. I couldn't get the rank because I missed my rank by 5 marks. Yeah, but I was already fantastic with that. अगर आप monthly income check करें from your CA profession and non-CA profession, I carry that. Where do you earn more? 50-50. Exactly 50-50. 50. All right, ठीक है. पढ़ाई करते वक्त कौन से एक सब्जेक्ट को बिल्कुल पसंद नहीं है? Direct tax. Direct tax. You like ISCA? I scored exemption ISCA and direct tax only 14 finally. If someone wants to build their brand today on social media as a content creator, where do they get started? If you're good at writing LinkedIn, if you're good at in terms of making videos as your face and Instagram. ठीक है. अगर hrudyesh पंखाना की लाइफ पे एक मूवी बनानी है, तो मूवी का नाम क्या होगा और उसका लीड एक्टर कौन होगा? मूवी का नाम should be The Unspoken Truth. Actor, I myself. Oh, you yourself. That's your debut movie. Thank you so much, Hrudyesh, for joining on this episode of Beyond the Degree. I had a good time learning from you, understanding the insights of WIRC, and hopefully we have a lot more members supporting this type of elections. And I'm sure in the future we have a lot more people pursuing CA across all the ways. Absolutely. I think everybody needs to vote whichever council, it could be ICSM council or regional council or branch council. Thank you.
What I think as a female and in a Marwadi family, ladies लोग को female लोगों को शादी के बाद कहीं काम करने जॉब करना allowed नहीं था.
So how was the initial time of the first job that you took up?
मेरे पापा भी इनकम टैक्स का वर्क करते थे, तो घर से मेरी ट्रेनिंग तो 11-12 से स्टार्ट हो चुकी थी. मैंने क्लासेस नहीं करी एक भी. Okay. इंटर में भी नहीं करी, फाइनल में भी नहीं की. Okay.